listeners, we also want to say a special good morning to you, and we know that you are also in tuned to the program. So, let's kick off. First off, what is co-parenting? Let's get going.
Co-parenting.
Yes.
Okay, so it's an interesting topic. Last year we would have launched our co-parenting campaign, and so today is one of the beginning of media discussion on co-parenting. So what is co-parenting? Very interesting question. Co-parenting is when two parents, whether they are together or separated, work cooperatively to raise their child or children in a respectful, consistent, and child-focused way. Now we want to make it clear. Co-parenting is raising your children or your child together, whether or not you are involved in an intimate relationship. What does that mean? It means you have shared decision making. So it is not the mother saying what I want for my child. Because the Law, Status of Children Act, Section 15, clearly states that once a man has been declared to be the father of the child, whether you do that on your own because you had him sign the birth certificate, or the matter was brought before the court, DNA testing proves it is his child, then he becomes the equal guardian with the mother of that child. So it is no longer, Carlisle, a woman can say, or the mother can say, it's my child. She will go, if I say she will go. No, that is no longer happening in the Commonwealth of Dominica. So it is consistent rules and expectations between both parties, respectful communication, that's what co-parenting means, respectful communication, and putting the child's needs above the conflict. That is co-parenting. So again, we will say co-parenting is when two parents, whether they are together or separated, work cooperatively to raise their child in a respectful, consistent, and child-focused way.
How important is co-parenting?
Oh, very, very important. It is paramount to the emotional, the physical, all of the needs of the child.
It is.
As we know right now from our experience, parents who do not co-parent properly, the children present with a lot of different issues which come back to us at the department. And so we are trying to raise awareness as to the importance of co-parenting to try to minimize or let all of these issues just eliminate all of these issues. Yes. So it is very important that parents learn to co-parent, as it helps the children to feel secure and safe. It minimizes the amount of stress they have after the parents have separated. If they are divorced or if they broke up, they're no longer together. And it helps the children to develop a better emotional and social well-being.
Correct.
So it is very, very important. We want to stress on that even if you and the father or you and the mother are no longer together, that you make the child's needs the number one priority and you do what is best interest of your child. So you and the father or you and the mother have to, should, must work together.
Obligated to.
Right.
Obligated to.
In the best interest of your child, you work together to raise that child together. And at the end of the day, it will be in the best interest of your child.
And yourself. Because, and we want to stress, Mr. JnoBaptiste, co-parenting does not mean that you and the other party, whether it's the mother or the father, have to be involved in a sexual relationship.
I was just going to ask that question. Yes.
No, you don't have to be involved in a romantic relationship. It doesn't mean there's going to be some reconciliation. You're all going to get back together if you co-parent. It's not about liking or loving each other. It is about teamwork for the best interest of the child. Who does not want a holistic child? Who does not want a positive child? Who does not want a joyful child? Who does not want a child always laughing? Who does not want that? So even if we are no longer involved in a sexual relationship, it does not mean that we cannot raise our child. We both have to understand, okay, this this intimate relationship
It's
between us. It's
over.
no longer working. Whether he doesn't want to be in the relationship, or you as a mother no longer want to be involved in that relationship. But when we have a child together or children together, it's no longer about us. It's about them. How are we going to do this for them? Because at the end of the day, children have to grow up having good memories of both parents, and not having to be in a position where they have to choose, where they have to pick a parent, or where they have to begin lying, to please a parent, right? So this is why healthy, positive co-parenting relationships are very essential. Look at our children today. Look at the behaviors that children are displaying. And when you look back, you realize whether it was mommy and daddy had a divorce, or mommy and daddy is no longer involved in a relationship, and I cannot go by my father's people. I cannot go by my mother's grandmother. I cannot go with extended family anymore. Daddy don't want me to go by mommy. Mommy don't want me to go by daddy. Mommy always saying negative things about my daddy, or daddy always saying negative things about my mommy, and that affects the children more than we know.
So it means that there are disastrous effects when
Yes.
when co-parenting
Does
fails.
not.
Yes.
When
It
it
does
doesn't
have
work.
it surely will have an impact on that child, because like you quite rightly said, there are times when mommy says, "Oh, pass auntie straight."
Yes. Yes.
Because they have a personal issue with the person, they involve the children in big people business.
Why sometimes I ask myself, why would that be the case? Because you both would have mothered and fathered that child. Now it did not work. You're separate ways, but a child is involved,
Right.
and you have a rule under the laws of the country to take care of that child.
Not just the laws of the country. You have a moral obligation before God.
Yes.
Because God is the one who gave you that child.
Yes.
That child becomes your responsibility to raise that child in a way that pleases the Lord. In a way that when you as a parent get older, that child will not have to say, well, remember, you didn't want me to check my father, so I must have not checking you. You're in your business by yourself. You don't want that time to come. Right? And Mr. JnoBaptiste, people learn best from experience. Now, Miss George is here today. She can speak from experience because she has lived that life.
Wow.
I have looked at my sister living that life, and I must say, the experience that I have with my sister and the father of her child, I applaud her every day, and I say to her, you need to come on the radio and for us to have that discussion.
yes. There's always a story to be told.
Yes, because I am looking at my niece, Carlisle, and she knows nothing negative about her father. My sister and the father of her child, they are no longer involved in an intimate relationship.
Yes.
But you will not know that because of the way they have chosen to raise. My sister's number one priority was, my child must grow up with her father in her life. Even if we are no longer in a relationship, she has to have a mother and her father.
Yes.
So even if Mr. JnoBaptiste, my sister and her child's father have a problem, at home we will not know,
That is
we
essential.
will never know that they having a conflict. We will not know. Neither will the child know.
Because one of the biggest issues is that we work on emotion.
Yes.
So we are upset with the father, and so we try to punish him or punish her, the mother, by saying that you cannot see the child. However, you are not punishing the person, you are punishing the child.
Yes.
Because you are denying the child a father or a mother when you do that. I tell my clients all the time, unless you have a valid reason, for example, the man is abusive or the mother is abusive, and you cannot trust them to leave the child in their care, there is no reason why you and that person are no longer in an intimate relationship that you are trying to keep the child away from the other parent. It doesn't make sense. And they
that's
will
very
come up with
important.
all kinds of reasons and things that makes no sense just because they are hurt and they feel like they need to hurt the person back. But in essence, they are only hurting the child. And as Miss Seaman was saying, from my experience, I remember growing up a little girl. I did not grow up with my biological father.
Yeah.
He lived elsewhere. And you know that thing where you expect a man to pay child support and he never did that. But my mother never once told me anything negative about this man. And every time I saw this man, I was so in love with this man that every time I saw him, I wanted to go with him. And never once do I remember a time when I asked to go with him and she said no. And he died when I was very young. And up to now, the only memories that I have growing up with him, with my grandparents, with my siblings and so on, I would not have had those experiences if she had denied me a father because he wasn't bringing money. And we have a lot of that saying that you are not paying child support, so I'm not allowing you to see the child.
But why? Because some time ago, a young lady asked me, she said to me, look, she needs to know the ropes because she needs to take her child father to court. The relationship has ended, and as a result of that, he's not supporting the child. So I said to her, from my point of view, I would not encourage you to take him to court. What I would do, I would take care of my child, and one day he must come to his realization, his senses, and realize that, but Whitner, I'm not supporting my child. And most times that man is supporting somebody else's child,
Yes. Unfortunately, you have those cases. And I don't think you should tell her not to take the man to court.
Right,
Okay.
Because he has a
He's obligated.
responsibility. That is his child, because the law says you are equal guardian with the mother of the child. It's not just equal guardian to see the child.
We seem to have a call on the line. Caller, good morning and welcome to Disaster New on DBS Radio.
Good morning to everybody. Good morning to the panel.
I can hardly hear you though, caller. Let me see if I can. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. That topic is very interesting and very sensitive.
Very sensitive.
Very sensitive. And it sometimes can be one-sided. You see, society, I have a question, eh?
Yes.
Let me make a point. Society, okay, has a way of training members of society to do evil and then come back and try to fix the evil. Okay, that's just my opinion. I'm talking in general terms. Now I have a question. A man and a woman brings a child into this world. They don't make a child. The woman don't make a child. She brings it here, give it to her by God to the man. Okay, we've been lied to, talking about, oh, I make my child. You don't make nothing. You bring the child here. Now the question is, okay, who teaches the man? In fact, let me ask, what is the difference between a mother, a father, and a parent? What's the difference? Is there a difference? Because we tend to mix up those terms. Okay? In my opinion, there's a difference. The easiest thing to do in this life is to bring a child into this world. Very, very easy. Very easy. The sperm meets the egg, fertilization, 280 days later, you have another human being. I'm a student of gynecology, I'm a student of neurology, and I'm a student of human biology. So I know the process. So what is the difference? And who teaches the man or the woman to be a parent? Because the father does deliver the sperm. The mother delivers the egg. She brings the child into the world. Who teaches the man to be a parent, and who teaches the woman to be a parent, or the mother to be a parent?
Okay, caller.
I'm listening.
Thank you very much. Interesting question. The caller seems very, very passionate
Yes.
about that topic, as he says.
Who teaches us to be parents?
Yes, the mother or the woman or the man.
Well, first of all, humans learn a lot from observation. All right. Just like your child, nobody had to teach your child how to walk. It's just something that's innate, right? Children will get up and walk at a certain age. A lot of our children learn by observation, interaction. That's why socialization is very important. But as you get older, there are books to read. There are persons with experience who've written books. They have podcasts. So as you get older, the responsibility now comes on you to be able to learn. Right? Just like we all have to go to school to learn a subject. Nobody teaches you to become a doctor. You have to go to school to become a doctor. So too, if you know that you want children, it is your responsibility. Apart from the experience you would have growing up by watching your mother and your father, you now have to take on the additional responsibility to go and teach yourself, learn. You read books. We have so many books right now. Multiple books on how to be a parent. Do's and don'ts of parenting girls, parenting boys. You have psychologists and behavioral psychologists and behaviorists and all of these people who have written books, very good books. There are podcasts, there are videos you can look at to teach you. And a lot of what you learn is through experience. Like I went to school, but it's just theory.
Yeah.
It's only until you start to practice that you realize, okay, this theory that I learned, I cannot even put it into practice.
So
here is something else, and then you try, and then it works, and then this one doesn't work. And then you have the Holy Bible. You have the Lord to help you, because there are some things nobody can teach you except the Lord. That's my take on it. But parent, I know that adult education does parenting classes. And so that is something that they have encouraged for people to attend. It's just that you invest in what is a priority to you. Because some people will invest to go and get a license, but they are new parents and they will not invest in buying a book to help them to be a better parent.
You know what? When I went to get my driver's license many, many years ago, before I was certified to be fit to drive, the instructor that was then Sergeant Telemack, he said to me, now that you're about to receive your license, go and learn to drive. You now start to learn to drive.
Exactly. You know, you only learn to drive when you're on the road.
When you are on the road. Yes.
And it's the same thing with parents. You only really learn to be a parent when you are actually in it.
Yes.
You know, like they said, you cannot tell somebody about the fire unless you've been in the fire. Right? And so to the caller, that is your responsibility to learn to be a parent. For some of us, we have positive experiences by our parents when we were growing up. Right. For some, we have negative experiences, negative memories, but it is a decision that everybody has to make. I want to be the best version of parent. I saw my mommy and my daddy did it really well. I want to be better. Or I did not have good experience as a parent, so I want to be the better parent that I did not get for myself.
Let's also link co-parenting to disaster preparedness. Why co-parenting and disaster preparedness or disasters matter?
Well, before, even during or after a disaster, we as parents or adults, we need to ensure that the children are always safe.
You have to hold that thought a little because I suspect we're going to have a next caller. We have a next caller on the line. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Disaster New.
Yeah, this is the same caller.
Yes.
I'm not going to make a debate, but I'm just saying my opinion. I recognize the response from the guest.
Yes. And they are the professionals.
Well, professionals is a quote. We're all professionals. Okay? Now, why is she reacting or why is she responding after the fact? Why is there no parenting classes in our primary schools, our secondary schools, and our colleges? Why not? That's what the game society uses to just create division, create havoc in society. Such an important subject matter. It's not part of the curriculum. Why not? Parenting. A woman is designed to bring a child into the world. She's designed. Okay? That's part of her DNA. Why is it not taught in our schools before she goes out there and gets pregnant? Or the father, impregnate her? Why not? So that's a game of society. That's just my view. You are responding after the fact. After the child is there. Before the child is there, educate yourself about parenting. Yes, you look at your parents. I grew up with a father in my life, and I used to watch how they do the parenting. Okay, that helps along my journey.
All right, caller.
Focus on reading and getting information before. The books are there. Information is there. Source the information before you get it in there.
Okay, caller, thank you very much. Your point is taken. Thank you so very much.
Well, Mr. John Baptist, if the caller was really listening, the caller would have heard that I said that.
Correct.
You invest in what matters to you. So if you know that you want to be a parent, you will learn, you will go, you will get books, you will read before. I must say that I know there are HFLE classes in school, in the curriculum. They teach you about reproduction, they teach you about socialization, they teach you about health, and all of those they take a holistic approach to HFLE. But our curriculum does not have do's and don'ts of being a parent. It doesn't have that.
So we could
Is that
say
really
probably this could be an initiative
It could be
of Ministry of
it could be a
Education.
discussion with the
In the
Ministry of
future.
Education. Probably
Yes.
not. Probably
Yes.
the basics that could be that can be taken up for discussion, but that would be with Ministry of
Ministry of
Education. That
Education,
is
who would have to
is
pick
the one
up
who has
that
to approve
initiative,
that.
right?
Yes,
Yes.
it's almost
But
like the civics. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. John Baptist, before we jump over across to disaster,
Intertwining them, yes.
we wanted to stress on what happens when co-parenting fails.
Oh,
and
yes.
I think
I asked
we
you
are
that
not.
basically. Yes.
I think we are not as adults. We are not too focused on that because we are more focused on ourselves. And a lot of the time when co-parenting fails, it tells you that either parent have not healed, right? They have not healed from the broken relationship.
Self-centered.
Yeah, and they are now projecting their emotions, their hurt onto the other party and using the child, right? As a pawn. So if, for example, I remember this counselor I came in contact with, and he said he did he went to school, he got training, and until the first day that he had to do counseling, he encountered a child who was physically abused. And he got flashbacks immediately because he was abused. And he realized that he was not yet healed from that emotional wound, so he could not counsel the child.
We have another caller? Yes. We lost that caller.
So he could not counsel the child and he had to refer the matter. So a lot of the times when the relationship ends, parents do not take time out to go through therapy, to get healing from the emotional wounds that happened, especially if they were not the one who initiated the breakup, right? You've been with a man for 16 years or 5 years or 3 years and you thought this was going to be the one. It didn't work out. He left or she left. There are wounds because you had an emotional attachment. You had a bond with this man or with this woman. It's only natural that you're going to be hurt. If you're not hurt, then something is wrong.
Naturally wrong with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Then you were never emotionally involved in the relationship. But you have to heal yourself.
But it's pride, eh?
Pride too stops people from getting the help that they need. Yes. But as Ms. George said, her mom realized, hey, I'm not going to prevent my daughter from having a relationship with her father because her mother was able to deal with the breakup. Her mother was able to get the help, whether she had the skills herself to do it or whether somebody else helped her. But she realized that her priority is not, hey, the hurt is not what I'm going to hold on to. I'm going to allow my daughter to have a relationship with the father.
It is easier said than done. What about where the breakup is as a result of a physical abuse or continuous physical abuse by the father or even by the mother, because you have physical abuse, you have verbal abuse.
And so that's what we were saying.
Yes.
Unless you have a significant reason why you think the child is not safe at risk with the other parent, then allow the child to have a relationship with their parent, with the other parent. If you know that there are significant reasons why, then you try to work on them before you allow the child to be in the presence of the person unsupervised. So either you initiate counseling with this person, you let them know, yes, I have no problem with you having a relationship with the child, but at this time it will be supervised until you get help. And that is your right, because you have to look out for the best interest of your child.
Yes.
And as you were saying earlier, when we mentioned earlier that some people, like when you separate and one parent is not paying child support,
yes,
we recognize that this is very important because two parents need to work together, not only to raise the child, but also for the financial needs of the child. And it is an obligation. So we always encourage our clients, if one parent is not financially providing for the child, that you seek help through the court. If it is adamant that the person does not want to. However, that doesn't mean that in the interim that you cannot allow the child to have a relationship with the father, whether they are paying child support or not.
Yeah.
But
It is important.
it is important.
Because when co-parenting fails, when we do not allow the child to have a relationship with whether it's the mother or the father, you have emotional stress on that child. And we all think children do not get stress. Children get stress. Children are stressed.
Oh, yes.
What we encountered as children, Mr. JnoBaptiste, our children, this generation children have an additional, what we went through as children. The pressures of this world right now, in this century, in this generation, it is a lot.
Added stress.
Yeah, it's added stress. We have increased behavioral issues. So this child is not behaving. They are not listening. They become rebellious. They are defiant. They
aggressive.
they're aggressive. They're not listening in school. They don't want to do their schoolwork. They don't care anymore. They develop a don't care attitude. They will disrespect the mother. But when they go by the father will say, but I don't have that problem.
Issue.
Yes.
He listens to me, she listens to me.
So then it tells you something is wrong. It's either that child at mommy's home is repeatedly hearing negative things, and now that the child is able to see, but my daddy is a good man. Now that child has lost respect for you as the mother, or that child has lost respect for you as the father. Then you have fear and confusion in children, not just ordinarily, but also during emergencies. And we'll talk about that a little later. And then you have long-term trust and attachment problems. A child who did not have positive co-parenting relationship, that is if their parents are no longer together, then in the long term you realize that child has issues. They have problems with attachment. You realize why some women, they've been with that man for 5 years, and yet still that man will say, but as if emotionally you're not there. If you go back in her history, you'll realize she didn't have a good relationship with her father or her mother.
This is generally the case,
Yeah.
Yes.
This is generally the case. You will find that maybe a young woman is growing up, and then this happens, and then she'll tell you, boy, if I tell you the problems I went through at home, I just did not know how to bring it out. And this tells on that woman the way she brings up her child, or even the man.
Correct. Or you see them moving from one relationship to the next because they don't have that attachment. It was not developed in childhood. Miss George can talk about it because she had a lovely relationship with her father. So now it's okay. It's easy for her to have attachment with men.
But it depends too on how you deal with it. I say to people that I grew up in a single parent family. My mother is 78, she will be 79. Praise God, she's alive. To God be the glory.
Amen.
And 8 of us. And she's lived to see each and every one of her children past the age of 50.
That's a blessing.
That's a blessing. And we are all there. And single-handedly, she had to take care of us.
And you have that. Right? There are some women who we have to give it up to them.
Yes,
the man left. You don't even know where he is, and they had to do that. So, we cannot even say, well, you didn't allow the child's father. No, because the father left completely. He moved to another part of the country, he left the island, whatever the case may be. He just didn't want anything whatsoever to do with his child. I think we have another
Yes, we have a next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Disaster New.
Yes, I call back again.
You are.
Can I ask you a question just quickly?
Yes.
Directly. Why was your father dead?
Why? Repeat that question.
You said you grew up in a single.
Yes.
Yeah. Why was your father not there in the family? Do you know?
I don't
Did
think.
your mother tell you?
I don't think that, to me, that was not important at that time. My mother did what she
What
had
about today? Is it important today? Do you know
Well,
why he
no, for
was
me,
not there?
no, caller. It's not important to me because my mother did what she had to do, and I'm saying, praise God, she did it.
Yes, I agree to that. She did the job.
Right.
But why was he not there? This is what is missing.
Well, it
This
did
is
not.
what is missing. You need to know why your father was not there. What happened? Or fathers to the other children. If it was a son man or more fathers, why were they not in your life?
Caller, bring down your emotions.
missing.
If you bring down your emotions, we can have a sensible discussions. A discussion.
No,
Bring your
I'm just
emotions down.
I'm passionate about the
Well,
truth.
you are too passionate.
Truth.
We all are passionate.
You confirm why your father was not there. I'm passionate.
You are passionate, but this is the world. This is the world color that we are living with, and we are living in. As I said, to me, that was not important. It has happened. I went to secondary school and see where I am today. To God be the glory for my mom, and I'm very, very happy. Thank you very much, caller.
And you know, Mr. JnoBaptiste, sometimes I understand that the caller is passionate, but there are some things that you just cannot change.
Of course not.
There are some men who never wanted to be fathers in the first place, and so when they hear that, hey, you're gonna be a daddy, they leave.
Yes.
You have generational issues. If you look at some generations, you realize the man has always been absent. That's another topic for another day.
You have selfish people.
You have selfish men. They just don't want that responsibility at all. Even if they may have come from a household where they saw their
parents
father
are married
being a very good father, but somewhere along the line they just didn't want to be fathers, or they just became so selfish or so prideful that they didn't want it.
And
They are-
macho.
yeah, there are various reasons why men become absent. But and then if you have to go all the way back to slavery, what history has taught us
Yes.
as well. I mean, so that's another topic for another
Exactly.
day. But
We have an ex-caller. I hear. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Disaster New.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call this morning.
Yes.
This is a great program, especially with the title of your show, Disaster Preparedness.
Yes.
Liz Dominic, a very similar situation, kind of what you said, being grew up with a single mom. And, when disaster strikes, we sometimes ask, who's going to help? Where the help is going to come from? I think when we look at single parents in early, let's say even in the 60s, 70s, and even as recent as 90s, 30 years ago, single parenting today is a whole different thing. One of the mistakes that I've seen single parents been making, both male and female, is that if they have a child with someone and they break up with the person, that child, let's say, is between, let's say, 2 and 10 years old. What they do quickly is jump to another relationship, and then that man or woman is coming into whether it's an apartment, a rental house, or a home. That is not the smartest thing to do. Now, if you and that person have a very serious relationship, planning to getting married, that's a different thing. But the problem is that people jump from relationship to relationship, not realizing they are so selfish, not realizing they have children.
Yes.
And they are bringing the children into this relationship. And as a result, when that boyfriend or that girlfriend leave or they break up with that person, that child will start to build a relationship with that stepmom or that stepdad is affected.
Correct.
And I just actually was I was actually just in a seminar in the Carolina, so I'm glad I got out before the storm. And I was there talking about employees, because one of the problems we have in the U.S. is a lack of getting employees to the manufacturing jobs. So we've been trying to work with other countries like Latin American countries to get people in, and the whole visa thing to get people. And one of the things that we noticed happening is the same situation we can relate to it in Dominica. For example, somebody in Scottsdale is dating somebody from Point Michel. They have a child with that person. They have this situation, they live together, right? Now, that person break up with the person, all of a sudden, that person dating somebody else from Soufriere or from Vaudeville, wherever, and the boyfriend is coming into the house, and the daughter or the son is going, but what is happening? So you cannot correct that child. And this is, sorry guys, I'm just a caller. I don't want to take all the time, but we can talk about it. And these are the things we need. This kind of discussions, we need to have this like panel discussion in different communities to talk.
Oh, sorry, caller. We seem to have lost you. Lovely discussion.
Yes.
But yes,
We
like I
love
said,
that.
we are with the Department of Social Welfare. With us in studio is Miss Sabrina Seaman and Miss Felicia George from the Child Protection Unit. Very, very interesting. Do we have a next caller? Yes, we have a next caller on the line. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Disaster New.
I want to say I agree to the last caller. Let's have discussions, open discussions about that subject matter. Now, another point I want to make is us men, Carlisle, we as men, we are wired naturally to want sexual pleasure. We are wired to want to be a dad. We want sexual pleasure. The woman's wired to bring a child into this world. Right? So if it's sexual pleasure, that's what we want. Sometimes, yes, he gets pregnant, but he's not capable of doing nothing to help because he's financially
He's financially not able.
Not capable, right? So it's just sexual pleasure he's looking for. And the woman knows exactly when she can get pregnant or not. 14 days after your last period, you and your sex, you're liable to get pregnant. I know that as a man. And women know that because you have that check and balance given to you by God. So if you get pregnant, you want to get pregnant.
Caller,
period. And
caller, we appreciate. Caller, we appreciate your contributions, but that is outside of the scope of what we are discussing. We are discussing the importance of positive co-parenting. We are all wired for different things and different ways, and we respect that. Okay, Mr. JnoBaptiste.
Yes,
so let's move on to linking co-parenting to disaster
preparedness. Preparedness. Yes.
Miss George, you were starting on that.
Yes.
Before we got distracted.
Yes. So it's very interesting. It's
very interesting.
Yes.
And we will have more of these discussions.
Definitely, we need to let our callers know that we will have more. I will have them again. Like I said, we have been working together as a team, and definitely we will have more of that discussion coming up. Yes, Miss George.
Okay, so we all know that in Dominica, it's not a matter of when we have, if we have a disaster, it's when, because we live in the Caribbean. We know that Dominica is prone to hurricanes, even landslides, floods and stuff like that. So we want to let parents know how important it is that they communicate with each other before, during, and even after a disaster. Mm-hmm. Because children need to know, where am I going during a disaster?
Yes, definitely.
Is there an evacuation plan in place? Have you discussed that with the child? Mm-hmm. Is the child sick? Does the child need medication? Even if the child is not sick, you should secure medication in case of an emergency or something like that. It is very important that parents work together so that they can keep the children safe. So some of the things they can do is they can have an emergency plan. They can secure all their important documents and ensure that the child knows where they are. Yeah. They can also, if in case the children have special needs or need medication, they need to have a plan for that also. A plan to communicate with each other. So if the child is with one parent, how are we going to speak to find out what is going on with the child? How are we going to communicate with each other? Where is the child going to be? You have to talk about all of these things to minimize risk and stress on the child. And we keep going back to the child because the child is who that you are trying to protect.
To secure.
It's very interesting. Before, you would hear people say, you have no say. Say to a child, you have no say. I am mother.
Not anymore.
But
that should never be.
Children have a voice.
But of course they have a voice. And the issue of co-parenting, which is very important, that child has a voice.
Of course.
Yes.
And an important voice in the decision making of how that child is brought up.
Yeah,
Very much so.
the child may not be able to make a
decision, an informed
but
decision.
the child's opinion
And
matters
input.
because the child wants to grow up knowing I was heard by my mother, I was listened to by my father. So let's go back to Hurricane Maria, 2017.
Yes.
Hurricane Maria was horrible, horrible, horrible. Now think of a child whose mommy and daddy not getting along, and the child went through Hurricane Maria. The child is with mommy, but is worried about daddy. And 3 months passes, and mommy is not making any way for me to call daddy or to go and see daddy or send a message to tell daddy that I am okay. Think of how that child would be feeling. You as an adult went through Hurricane Maria, and it was so stressful. It was traumatic for some people. As an adult, you could not even get in touch with your mother in Jubla.
Correct, yes.
And you were stressing about your mother in Jubla. We had a neighbor who lived in England. 3 days she couldn't sleep. When she came down, all under her eyes were black because England showed Dominica as completely wiped out. That's all they could see. And they just left it as that. Completely wiped out, bodies everywhere. And this lady could not sleep for 3 days because she was worried about her parents. And when she arrived in Dominica, she was so upset because England showed the story wrong. But my point here is, if as an adult you stress, it worries you so much about your mother you cannot get in touch with. Much less about that child whose mommy and daddy not getting along, and that child does not know, where am I going to be during a disaster? It's raining, the bridge is blocked, flooding is everywhere. Where is that child going to stay? Is he going to stay with mommy? Is he going to stay with daddy? And if both parents have a positive relationship, then mommy and daddy can be able to make a plan and say, okay, you live in a more secure area, so for a disaster, the children will be with you, or the child will be with you. I will get the medication, you will get this, I will get that, you will get that. And then we can plan for a disaster. So in the event of hurricane, God forbid, and we live on 9 volcanoes.
Yes, we have to be realistic.
We live on 9 volcanoes.
Yeah, we have to be realistic.
For so long, God has held them dormant.
Yes.
So we are able to harvest the energy. But we live on 9 volcanoes. So we have earthquakes to think about. We have volcanic eruptions to think about. We have flooding. We have hurricane. Landslides. Yeah. And so the child needs to know, where am I going to be? You and the father need to be able to have a plan together. Okay, Suzette is going to stay with daddy, and I am going to get Suzette's medication. Hey, who has the birth certificate? I'm securing birth certificate. I will call this or medical records. I'm calling the school. You get the snacks that she likes. We talk, we plan. Hurricane Maria, I remember my niece was with us because the storm hit with us, but her dad, what it was, the next day, 3 days later, they hike and they came up. So her dad came with water in his hand because that's all he could carry, because at that point she was a baby. But he brought water for the mother to drink water and for her to drink water, and the granny came up, and they spent some time before they could go back. But because they had that relationship, he was so comfortable to come home to check on his daughter, and who was going to tell him to go anyway? And that's his child.
That's very important and interesting, because I was in Point Michelle. My children, they were down in Jimit, and 2 days they've not heard from me. So I paddled in my canoe, and when I reached by Auto Trade, they were making their way up to Point Michelle because they heard my mother's house was gone and the amount of deaths in Point Michelle. So they were making their way, looking to try to find out what has happened to us in Point Michelle.
So you know how stressful those children were?
Exactly.
And until they had not seen you, they could not rest.
They were on their way.
Their mind could not be at peace. So think of a mother and father who is not agreeing, who has a bad relationship. It's so toxic. And all because they do not want to be in a relationship with each other anymore. And Miss George was saying some funny reasons they will say, oh, I don't like the girlfriend. Oh, I don't like Senjo. My child can't go Senjo. My child can't go Masak. Oh, but he have a new girlfriend.
And look at that. You mean that girlfriend you have? She not better than me?
Exactly. Or Mamselle just wanted, and Mr. My child not going by Mr.
No.
Petty reasons, Mr. JnoBaptiste. Petty reasons why co-parenting is not working.
And this is so not good. We also want to remind you that the Office of Disaster Management, the ODM, they will be holding this district preparedness relay and it's racing for resilience again. Very soon we are into the hurricane season. We're just getting into the hurricane season. We have a call on the line. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Disaster New.
Let's call it. I'm glad they didn't come back. Now, 2 points for them to consider. Okay, within that. One, how as a woman, how are you dealing? How are you going to deal with the pressure? Okay, of knowing that you have a time limit to bring a child into this world. Okay, by 30 years old, you will have lost 90% of your eggs you were born with. That's some time. That's data. You have lost that. Okay, by 35, you'll be entering geriatric pregnancy if you go that route. So how are you going to deal with that pressure?
Okay? Caller, you going back to where we not even we have not touched that yet because
we need to stay on.
Listen. Hold 1 second, caller. 1 second. 1 second. Remember, our topic is co-parenting and disaster preparedness, protecting children before, during, and after a crisis. You seem to be missing that point. So I have to take you off on that note right now because we need to stay on track. We only have 4 minutes left, and we do not want to sidetrack too much on what we are dealing with.
Okay, yes? So Carlisle, before we end, I would like to bring something to the attention of the public.
Yes.
We have a unit at Department of Social Services, which is called the Probation Unit, and they mostly deal with teens who are in trouble with the law, who have contravened the law, at risk youth. And one of the things that we have observed is we have a lot of absconding, we have a lot of angry children, we have a lot of children who are doing very poorly at school, they have anger issues, and all of these issues, and they come to us, and one of the reasons that we find, which is paramount for all of these issues, is that the parents are no longer together and they do not know how to co-parent.
Yeah.
And they are in a conflicted home or in a toxic relationship, and this is affecting the children, and the parents refuse to realize that this is one of the most important reasons why the children are displaying those behaviors. So we just wanted to bring that out, that it is very important that when you and your partner are no longer together, you make a special effort to work together to raise that child in the best interest of the child. Otherwise, they may present with all of these issues in the future, which you don't want.
Do you have issues also, as you spoke about that, whereby both parents are not together, but that child goes by a nanny, and in going by whoever that child is, whoever that nanny is, wherever that child goes, eventually you would have seen that child displaying some sort of behavior that you would probably find strange, only to find out at the end of the day that whilst that child has been going there, that child is being abused, unfortunately.
All the time.
We've dealt with situations like that.
All the time.
And you know what is the worst part? It's that because co-parenting failed,
correct,
the mother chose rather to send the child by nanny rather than to send the child by the father's mother.
Or the mother, right.
Who best to raise your child than the grandparents anyway?
Yes.
First of all, you get to relax as a mother, as a father.
Or by a church friend.
Well, even church friends too sometimes can be,
Because remember, hardly ever does a stranger abuse your child.
Most times it's
somebody
that
you know and trust.
Yes.
Yeah. But the child's grandparents, you choose to not send the child with the father or the father's family, you send the child with the nanny. Turns out the nanny was abusing the child, right? So yes, we've dealt with situations like that before, but we want to press and we cannot press. We will have more discussions.
Yes.
It is paramount for the child's holistic development, their psychological well-being, their mental well-being, their physical well-being, their emotional well-being, to raise up with parents who show that their interest is them, the child, and that mommy and daddy have conflict. Children will never know because they are they have chosen to put the conflict aside or do it when the child is not parent, and to ensure that the
When the
child
child is
is
not
raised
there.
in a stable environment. The only thing the child knows is I have mommy, I have daddy, they're best parents, but you do your conflict at the back when the child is not present. You can make all the noise when the child is not there, but when you and that father or that mother is in the same room, you are the best of friends. That's all the child needs to know. My mommy and my daddy gets along, and that will put their minds at ease. But just before we go, Mr. JnoBaptiste, we want to thank you very much for having us on the program today. It was a pleasure. We also want to let you know, and the public know, that we have a health fair coming up on March 6th.
On March 6th, that's next week.
Next week. Can you believe that already?
no,
March
no.
is already
March
here.
is already there.
February is gone.
Gone,
This is
gone,
the last
gone.
week.
Yes, yes.
But we're having an aging fair on March 6th. It's going to be at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium forecourt. And the
Time?
reason why, it's going to be from 10 a.m.
Yes.
So it's going to be from 10 to 3. It's free admission. You can come in free of charge. There will be health screening, so you can bring your granny to test. You can come and test your blood pressure, blood sugar, make sure everything is working, your BMI. But the importance of the fair is because, Mr. JnoBaptiste, and we'll have that discussion as well, you realize a lot of us, we are aging and not preparing for getting older.
Don't remind me.
Yeah? So you get to 65, you retire, and you are like, what am I supposed to do now? You have nothing in place for that stage of your life, that new chapter, that new journey. So the health fair is to raise that awareness and come and have discussions. There will be persons from the legal chambers there. There will be Dominica Social Security to talk about retirement. There will be the health team, so they can do free screenings for you. There will be the National Cooperative Credit Union, Republic Bank, National Bank. It will talk about savings for seniors.
For a rainy day.
Right, for the rainy day. There will be various vendors will be there to discuss what they have available for you as you get older. And it's important for us as young adults to start to think of, when I get 65, what's going to be? Do I have a health plan? Do I have a health insurance? Do I have a life insurance? Do I have a retirement fund? So all of that will be discussed at the fair. It's free. You come, you go to different booths, you have discussion, you have questions. What about a will for my granny? My mommy on her deathbed, she wants to make a will. Nobody has
yes.
power of attorney. How do I do
How
that?
do I do that?
The
How do I
legal
go
minds
about-
will
yes,
be right. The
yes.
legal minds will be present on that day for the aging fair.
Wonderful.
So
Yes.
yes, so the theme is securing our future, planning for aging with dignity through financial preparedness and elder care inclusion.
So that
So
means
it's-
I'm going to have you all next week again, if possible.
Yes, definitely. March
Right.
6th,
Right.
Windsor
Windsor Park
Park
Stadium.
Sports Stadium forecourt from 10
to 3
a.m.
p.m.
Okay, we've run past our time, ran away from us
So quickly.
so
Very.
quickly. So, final comments as we wrap up for this morning, Ms.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, as I said before, we just want to say how important it is for parents to work together in the best interest of their children, whether they are together or not.
Yeah. And co-parenting is not about an intimate relationship. Co-parenting is about working together for the best interest of your child to ensure that that child grows up in a stable environment.
Holistic.
Not just stable as in they have a roof over their head, but they have a sound mind. They know that mommy and daddy is getting along. So preparing for a disaster is not just about food and water. It's also about the security of the child and ensuring that mommy and daddy is working for the best interest of that child. So all of us who have children and we are no longer involved in an intimate relationship with the father of our child, we need to be able to get our own
mother.
healing. Yeah, mother. We need to be able to get our own healing to be able to partner with the father or the mother of the child to ensure that our child grows up in a loving and stable environment.
And we are getting into the hurricane season, so people
yes.
be prepared, be safe, be ready. The Office of Disaster Management is hosting a district disaster preparedness relay, Racing for Resilience. We'll again give you more details on that as we go along over the next few days. So, it was a pleasure having you with us. We did enjoy your calls.
Always
the
a pleasure.
persons from the Department of Social
Yes,
Services,
thank you so
Ms.
much.
Seaman, and of course Ms. George from the Child Protection Unit. I got it right this time.
Yes, you did.
Right. So until next time, we will be back. Same station, right here on DBS Radio. Carlisle JnoBaptiste from the Office of Disaster Management saying so long, be safe, and goodbye.
I begging